Assalamu alaikum. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So a lot of you guys been asking me about the stars animation, including the shooting star in Simply UI landing page. So today I'm going to show you how you can create this in very simple steps, only using TailwindCSS and Keyframes animations. As usual, you can head over to simplyui.io where you can find a full article about this component, and also you can copy the code and feel free to use it within your websites. Let's get started. All right, so now let's take a look at our structure first. So we have a sky component, which is being rendered in the page with an H screen and a BG neutral 900. So if we go back to sky component, let's declare a stars array, and then we can use array from functionality from JavaScript. Array from, we can open an object and we can decide the length, an array of 100 element. We need to map through this array so we can render the stars. And this array is going to take just index, so we're not returning anything. And let's just return a simple self-closing tag div with key index for now. So let's add a class name, a width of 1 pixel with px, age, same thing, px, a bg of white, and rounded full. So in Tailwind, instead of specifying the width and the height, if it's the same value, we can just say size px, and it's the exact same thing. Or if we said, for example, this element should be absolute, and for example, let's just put top to 50% and left to same thing, 50%. So let's try to render our stars here. As you can see, we have a small dot here, which is our star. So if we go here, size 12, this should be much bigger right now. So let's keep it 1 pixel. Technically, we have 100 stars which being rendered at the same positioning. So the next step is to decide each star to take a random positioning within our page. So what we can do, we can use random or math random from JavaScript again. Let's declare two variables, which is top and const left. The first one's going to be math.random multiplied by 100, so we can eliminate fractional numbers. Exact same here, math.random multiply by 100. For each element within our array, we have a top and a left random number. All we need to do now is just to assign these specific positioning to our stars. So what we can do, we can use the style element or the style attribute, and we can decide the top, which is going to be the top functionality with the percentage here, and exact same here, just with left and left. So now if we go back to our local host, you can see that we have multiple stars within our screen in a different random positioning. Perfect. If I refresh my local host, you can see that the stars change positioning each time. Amazing. So to make our code reusable right now, what we can do is we can introduce a prop here called number of stars. For example, it's going to be a number. And we're going to use this number of stars here just to make our component reusable. So if you go back right now to page, you're going to see that we have a TypeScript error, and that is because we're missing our prop. And now if I put 100, it's going to be the same. Now, what if I put 200? Same thing, 300. And you decide the number of stars that you want. One thing here, you should not go crazy about the number, not write like 3 million or something. Your laptop's going to crash. So let's keep it at 200, for example. So now that we created our star correctly, let's add our shooting star animation. Let's check our shooting star component. It's just a simple SVG rendered within a div. Let's try to add it to our sky. Shooting star. And this is our SVG, a simple line with a gradient, with a bulb or a blur at the top. But with the animation, it looks really cool. So if we go back to our shooting star, the first thing we should do here is try to declare some use states. We're going to have position and set position. And it's going to be a use state. And let's start, for example, with top 40% and left 15%. Let's add another use state, which is going to be controlling the visibility of our SVG or our shooting star. And let's call it, for example, is visible. Same thing. It's going to be a use state, but this time it's going to be a Boolean and initialized with false. So let's try to wrap our SVG with is visible, and let's declare our use effect. What we can do is we can declare an interval. This interval is going to be set interval from JavaScript, and it's going to take a function. And within this function, all we need to do right now is the same thing with the stars, get a random top and a random left. We need to set visible to true. And while setting those random positioning to our const top, it's going to be same thing, math dot random multiply by 100. So we get rid of fractional numbers. Same thing here, math multiply by 100. Within this interval, what we can do is we need to set the position to the new positioning. So top, it's going to be the new top. It's going to be top, and same thing for left. After we set the positioning, we can set is visible finally to true, because we want to showcase the new SVG or the shooting star with the new positioning. We want it to happen like each 1000 milliseconds or 4 seconds. And within the return, what we can do, we can just clear the interval. So after setting the visibility to true, we want a set timeout of 1000 milliseconds or 1 second, where we can set is visible to false again. So we can unmount the SVG from the React DOM tree. Perfect. So now if we go back to our SVG, we can head over to the SVG opening tag. Within the style attribute, we can decide the new top, which is position.top, and the new left positioning, which is position.left. So let's add a class name, an absolute SVG, and let's just add a z index of 10 so we can see it really clearly. See if we can notice our SVG each 4 seconds. Here it is, perfect. Amazing. All we need to do now is just to add the animation so we can make it really consistent and smooth. Let's head over to global.css. And here what we can do is we can declare keyframes, and we can put the identifier to shooting star, for example. Perfect. And with this keyframes, we need to declare how we want our animation to be in each state. So in 0%, in 50%, and in 100%. So in 0%, we want our opacity to be 0.5. And in 50%, we want the opacity to be 1. And in 100%, we want that shooting effect, which is gonna allow us to see the full shooting star animation. We can achieve this by transform attribute and translate X, and we can do 500 pixels, and same thing, translate Y, 500 pixels. Perfect. In order to get a CSS class or utility class to use it within our SVG, we need to add a new class here, or a custom class, and we can call it, for example, animate shooting. And this is going to be an animation, and it's going to take the identifier, which is shooting star. And let's make it 1 second, because we removing or we unmounting our SVG in 1 second. And the type is forward for animation. So now if we go back out to our SVG, we can add animate shooting. All right, let's refresh our local host and see if our animation is working. Okay, we can see that our animation is not working correctly. Let's go back here. So transform translate 500 and be negative, minus 500. Perfect. All right, amazing. We can go back to our shooting star and decide here it's going to happen each 2 seconds just for our tests. Perfect. All right, that was a good one. We mentioned a lot of concepts related to React and CSS. We saw how we can use React hooks to control our UI within a React DOM tree. We mentioned a couple of concepts with keyframes. As always, you can head over to simplyui.io for a full article where you can get the code for free and feel free to use it within your websites. Let me know what you think. Follow me on my social media links and see you in the next one. Peace.